Manager fired me 3 weeks before my 25-year pension kicked in, saying I was no longer a good fit for company culture. When I asked HR about my pension, they said employment was terminated before vesting period completed. I just smiled and said, "You're absolutely right about company culture." Then I sent everything to the labor board. That weekend, I did some research. I looked up employment laws, pension regulations, and wrongful termination statutes. What I found was very interesting. First, firing someone specifically to prevent them from receiving pension benefits is illegal under federal law. It's called pension discrimination and it's taken very seriously by the Department of Labor. Second, if a company fires someone close to their pension vesting date and then hires someone to do substantially the same job, it creates a presumption of discriminatory intent. Third, I discovered that Derek's nephew Tyler had been posting on social media about his new job at Henderson, including pictures of himself at my desk and captions like "Uncle got me the perfect position and quality control supervisor in training." Monday morning, I didn't go to the office to process my termination paperwork. Instead, I drove to the Department of Labor office and filed a formal complaint for pension discrimination and age discrimination. I also contacted the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and filed a complaint there. Then I called a lawyer who specialized in employment law. When I told him my story and showed him Tyler's social media posts, he immediately agreed to take my case on contingency. "This is one of the most blatant cases of pension discrimination I've ever seen," he said. "They didn't even try to hide what they were doing." We spent the next week gathering evidence. My lawyer obtained Tyler's social media posts before Derek could tell him to delete them. We collected my performance reviews from the past 24 years, which showed excellent ratings right up until Derek arrived. We documented the timeline of Derek's nephew being hired and trained for my position. Most importantly, we discovered that I wasn't the only long-time employee Derek had targeted. Over the past 18 months, he had fired 3 other employees who were close to pension vesting, including a 28-year veteran in accounting and a 26-year veteran in shipping. 2 weeks after my termination, my lawyer sent a demand letter to Henderson's legal department. We weren't just seeking my job back and pension rights, we were demanding a full investigation into Derek's pattern of targeting long-time employees and a review of all recent terminations. Henderson's response was to offer me a small settlement in exchange for signing a non-disclosure agreement. They wanted to pay me the equivalent of 6 months' salary to go away quietly and never talk about what happened. My lawyer's response was to file a federal lawsuit and contact the local news media. Update 1. The story broke in our local newspaper 2 weeks ago with the headline "Local company accused of firing workers to avoid pension payments." The reporter had done her homework and interviewed 2 other employees who'd been fired under similar circumstances. The article included quotes from Tyler's social media posts about getting his uncle's help with the job, and it featured a photo of me standing outside Henderson's offices holding a sign that read 24 years of loyalty, fired 3 weeks before pension. The response was immediate and overwhelming. The newspaper's website crashed from traffic, and the story was picked up by regional news outlets. Henderson's phones were flooded with calls from angry customers and former employees sharing their own stories. Derek tried to do damage control by releasing a statement saying my termination was purely based on performance issues and that any suggestion of pension discrimination was completely unfounded. Unfortunately for Derek, my lawyer had already provided the media with copies of my excellent performance reviews from the past 24 years. The Department of Labor investigation moved quickly once the story went public. They requested all of Henderson's personnel files for the past 3 years, focusing specifically on employees who were terminated close to pension vesting dates. What they found was damning. In addition to me and the 2 other employees I knew about, they discovered that Derek had fired 6 longtime employees over 18 months, all between 18 to 36 months before their pensions would have vested. The total savings to the company and avoided pension costs was estimated at over $2.8 million. Meanwhile, Tyler's social media posts were causing their own problems. In addition to bragging about getting my job through his uncle's connections, he had posted pictures from inside the plant that violated company confidentiality policies. He'd also made several posts complaining about having to work with old people who don't understand technology. The posts went viral on local social media, with people sharing screenshots and commenting about nepotism and age discrimination. Someone created a Facebook page called Justice for Henderson Workers that gained 5,000 followers in 3 days. Henderson's board of directors called an emergency meeting and hired an outside law firm to conduct an internal investigation. The company's stock price, they're publicly traded on a small exchange, dropped 15% in a week as investors worried about potential legal liability. Update 2. 1 month after my termination, Derek Walsh was fired. Henderson announced that they were parting ways with Derek effective immediately and that they would be reviewing all recent personnel decisions to ensure compliance with federal employment laws. They also announced that Tyler's employment had been terminated for violation of company social media policies. The internal investigation found exactly what we knew they'd find, a systematic pattern of targeting longtime employees to avoid pension costs. The law firm recommended that Henderson immediately reinstate all wrongfully terminated employees and honor their pension commitments. I was officially offered my job back with full back pay, restoration of my seniority, and immediate vesting of my pension benefits. The other terminated employees received similar offers. But here's where it gets interesting. I turned down the job offer. After 24 years of loyalty to Henderson, I realized I didn't want to work for a company that would hire someone like Derek in the first place. More importantly, I'd already found something better. During the media attention around my case, I was contacted by Henderson's biggest competitor, Apex Industrial. They offered me a position as their senior quality control manager at a 30% higher salary than I'd been making at Henderson, plus immediate entry into their pension plan with credit for my years of experience. "We need someone with your integrity and experience," the Apex hiring manager told me. "What Henderson did to you is exactly the kind of behavior our company stands against.